My name is Ohara Diseko, Ningoma. Right? I grew up in Soweto, Orlando West. I grew up in a very repressive and suppressed environment, especially. That was because I was born in the 50s, the 60s. That was the time of high repression. I went to school in Lopama. Matriculation, we never passed matric because it was a control mechanism of the Boers to have less African people at university, one. And also remember, Bantu education also excluded blacks from certain streams. Women were channeled towards both domestic, what they called domestic science. They call it home economics now. I don't know what the difference is. But we were taught by very good teachers who really in a way imparted into us a consciousness where we are learning through a very bad system. So we used to say, our history teacher used to say, there are two textbooks, this one and mine, and those are the very small things that actually conscientize. But the real turning point, and my sister, my elder sister, was in Saso, Nabo Biko, Nabo Pani Pichana, Nabo Heri Nengwe Kulu, Nabo Mampila Rampila, and they used to come past Ekaya, Orlando West. The car would come blaring, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. So it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, to be young, gifted and black. So those things really, in 72, that was the catalyst. I went to, I was already at Teflop, and 1972 was the turning point, because that is the year when Utiro, Unkopotse Tiro, gave the speech, the seminal speech, challenging Bantu education. And in challenging Bantu education, he actually appealed to the young people, let us become the black intelligentsia that begins to raise the consciousness of the nation. And when a nation is conscientized, there is never any turning back. There was the aftermath of that is that there was, speech center just reverberated, just like 1976. 1976 was a turning point for the country and for the struggle, in the sense that there were children who skipped the country, but at the same time, it was a time when some of the Mapantiti political prisoners were coming back. And this is the intergenerational thing that I was talking about. It was Brajo Gabi, it was and he spoke to us about the women. And he pointed us to Abu Masisulu, Abu Mangapai, all of those that were his generation. And at the same time, briefed, I don't know how they worked it. Somehow the ANC cells began to move, but now we were the young recruits. And by 1978, we already had something like Zuhamba Sadi. Nabo Jesse Duarte, Nabo Leila Patel, Abo Hendricks, several other people. A network, that was developing throughout. That's why I spoke about FETRO, and now, and PEO, and what. So but cells. Hence, you began to find in Natal the women organized under now. Eastern Cape, you had East London, and you had Port Elizabeth Women's Organization, Transvaal, etc., etc. Dating very backwards, up to, say, 1930. There was already the land issue. There was already the pass issue. And there was a thriving mining sector. That was the exploitation of the black man, the subjugation of the woman in education, but also excluding in certain streams of the economy, etc. And taking away the indigenous skills of the African woman of being the master brew of the African beer, and yet turning it into municipal revenue. That is why about Rothinyembe do it and said it won't happen. So you could see even then the exclusion from education, the STEM fields, apart from Bantu education being completely bad, but for women, being excluded. Auliko University, USA, BSc, I had a friend who did BSc. And the lecturer came in, counted and said, you can never pass, pointing at my yes. She ended up doing teaching. And the others could not pass anyway because they are Bantus. You know what he said, Ferfut, when he said, don't give Bantus education that they can't use because those are jobs that are reserved for whites. So ours were crassly systemic issues. We had to fight apartheid head on. You couldn't reduce it into fragments. It was a whole system that had got to come down. We menstruated. We had the same pain. We did not have money to buy pads, but the bigger problem was, now you have got an enabled environment where you can actually begin to say, actually, as women, these are the needs that we have, and why must you take sanitary powers? And you guys come up with brilliant contradictions that you highlight, like free condoms and no free pads, sanitary pads. The environment is enabling you're able to do that. For us, the issues were completely disempowering. And let me tell you, it was few people. It was few of us. August the 9th would be attended by 10 people because the others have been arrested. You're waiting for people from Cape Town. Oh, Ban, Aishem, they've been arrested because they did it for June 16th, for August the 9th, for December 16th, for all the days, those national days we used to mobilize. They were our days of inspiration. I am happy that we see young, and I'll say women, young women actually talking and participating in discourse about transformation and about change, but also impact. I feel very sad when I see the thousands and thousands of young women who in this enabling environment actually are caught up in a vicious cycle of poverty. She's 16, she's got 6 children. When did she start? Why did it happen? Who did it? Right? I'm saddened by parents who want to do for service delivery, and they stop their children from going to school. Your children are not an object. If they want to, Bonavuan and the Northern Cape, and you know the poverty of the Northern Cape. Do you know that that was one of the richest provinces which was exploited and left with the gaping? The black hole, it's symbolic of the woundedness, of the pain of those people. You heard about the woman who was accosted by a man recently. Abatla 2 rand. When this woman said, I don't have 2 rand, then your body. While he raped the mother, the brother said, not in front of me, Wambeta. This guy got mad, killed this young boy. Amutlabaka Katipa. I am very saddened by that. I am saddened, Kiki, the inequality that seems to be there. But I really get hope because I get hope from meeting youngsters, etc., etc. But they must never be owned. You must never be owned by other individuals. You must be an empowered young person who understands the nature of the problem, who understands that every site is a site of struggle. If your neighbor has got a child ubatla textbook, while someone if the sharing, the spirit of solidarity, the spirit of tolerance, and stop political bullying. If you are EFF, you're not better than me because I am PAC, right? You know, the strength of the struggle of women before 1994 is demonstrated in 1956. Well, maybe there are others, but this one I can talk about the diversity of the leadership. And they came from diverse organizations, but they had a common vision: no to buses. Imalibongwe, when we went, the ANC has always been the leader. Be not deceived. The ANC has always been the leader with regards to the emancipation of women. And it's Oliver Tambo, and I salute him. Yeah, I salute Oliver Tambo. But if you can do a bit of research, you will see the comment of Tatulu Tuli. After maybe 1954, March of FETSO, when they were marching against the Bantu education, as I was saying, who said we were quiet. If it were not for the women, we wouldn't have, I can't say it exactly, but you can find it. But I'm just saying to you that, Kaniti, if you find that intrinsic thing in you, and say nobody owns me. Even if I'm a member of the ANC, I am not owned by, and I've been a member of the ANC for many, many, many years, even before it was fashionable. Nobody must own you. You must grow your mind. You must read. You must read. You must read. And you must understand the nature of the things that you are dealing with.